Before we begin today's heartwarming Old West story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends if you enjoy emotional stories of kindness, hope, and second chances. Imagine being so poor that you have to pull your hungry child away from a warm meal because you simply can't afford it. But what happens when one cowboy notices a little girl's silent tears and makes a decision that changes all of their lives forever? This unforgettable story from the American frontier in the 1800s proves that a single act of kindness can create a lifetime of happiness. Now grab a seat, relax, and let's get started. The autumn wind swept through the dusty streets of Abilene, Kansas in the year 1883. Wagons rattled over the rough road, horses stood tied outside the general store, and weary cowboys filled the town after weeks on the cattle trails. The scent of wood smoke drifted through the cool evening air while lanterns flickered to life outside shops and boarding houses. For most people, it was an ordinary evening. For Sarah Whitmore and her little daughter Emily, it was another day of wondering where their next meal would come from. Sarah had once lived a peaceful life on a small homestead with her husband, Daniel. He had been an honest farmer until a harsh winter and a sudden illness took his life. Left with nothing but a few belongings and her 6-year-old daughter, Sarah had sold everything to pay old debts. Now the two traveled from town to town searching for honest work, but every door seemed to close before Sarah had the chance to explain her situation. As they walked through the busy main street, Emily held tightly to her mother's worn hand. Her little boots were faded and too small, and her patched dress offered little protection from the evening chill. She tried not to complain, knowing her mother was already carrying enough sorrow. Still, the smell of fresh bread and roasted beef drifting from Miller's dining house made her empty stomach ache. The restaurant windows glowed warmly against the darkness outside. Inside, families laughed together while ranchers and travelers enjoyed steaming plates of food after long days of hard work. Emily slowed her steps without realizing it. Her wide blue eyes settled on a cowboy seated near the front window. Before him rested a thick slice of roast beef, buttered bread, mashed potatoes, and a slice of warm apple pie. She stared silently, imagining what such a meal might taste like after days of living on dry biscuits and cold water. Sarah noticed the longing in her daughter's eyes. Her own heart broke, but she reached down, gently squeezed Emily's hand, and whispered with quiet sadness, "Let's go. We can't pay." Emily nodded without arguing, though she looked back one last time at the warm dining room before following her mother into the growing darkness, unaware that someone inside had witnessed the entire moment. As Sarah turned to leave with Emily, the cowboy by the window quietly laid down his fork. His name was Thomas Carter, a respected rancher from Wyoming who had spent most of his life on the cattle trails. He had known hunger himself as a young man after losing both of his parents, and the sight of the little girl staring at his supper stirred memories he had never forgotten. Taking off his hat, he stepped outside before the mother and daughter disappeared into the evening crowd. "Ma'am," he said gently, "please don't mistake me. I'd be honored if you'd allow me to buy supper for you and your little girl. It wouldn't be charity, only one traveler helping another." Sarah lowered her eyes, embarrassed by her circumstances. Pride told her to refuse, but Emily's hungry face told a different story. After a long moment, Sarah quietly replied, "Thank you, sir. We will accept your kindness, and we will never forget it." Inside the dining house, the owner welcomed them to Thomas's table. Soon warm plates of roast beef, fresh bread, vegetables, and hot apple pie were placed before them. Emily smiled brighter than she had in many weeks. She ate slowly, remembering her mother's manners, while Sarah thanked God silently for the unexpected blessing. During the meal, Thomas learned that Sarah's husband had died 2 years earlier, leaving her with debts and no family to depend on. She explained that she wasn't asking for pity, only a chance to earn an honest living. Thomas admired her courage. Before they finished supper, he made an offer. "My ranch could use someone trustworthy to manage the house," he said. "There is a small cottage beside the barn where you and Emily could live. The pay isn't grand, but it is honest, and you'll always have food on the table." Tears filled Sarah's eyes as she accepted. Within a week, they traveled to Thomas's Wyoming ranch, where a new chapter of life began. Sarah's hard work soon made the lonely ranch house feel like a true home, and Emily's laughter echoed across the fields once again. As the first snowfall covered the prairie that Christmas, Thomas realized the ranch no longer felt empty. Months later, he asked Sarah to become his wife. She accepted with grateful tears, knowing that one stranger's simple act of kindness had turned the darkest season of their lives into the beginning of a hopeful future.